Welcome to the 9th episode of Spinning Wheels, which, yes, means you've got another 8 podcasts to catch up on if this is the first time that you've joined us for this series. We were across the pond last time out with Chris Dyson, and Guy, I delved back into your racing history too, which reminds me you're yet to deliver on your promise to give us a story of that Williams test and also get the car number 7 Bentley team back together again for that story of Le Mans. We're going to go there, aren't we, for a reunion tour?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I said before, not actually had Tom and Dindo and myself together since that day at Le Mans. So it'd be good to catch up and talk about old times. Long time ago now, but yeah, absolutely. It'd be fantastic to catch up with them. And obviously,
Twitter wants us to do that. Everyone seems to be on board with that. We have, though, delivered on our promise to share with you the controversial move in the Clio Cup Championship that earned Mike Simpson the YouTube nickname, the Clio Bandit. That is on Twitter and Instagram, and the man who's talking is equally controversial.
Sorry, I've messed up.
you got to
talk about our guest today, who is also no stranger to controversy either, and in fact has been referred to numerous times in his career, as recently as this week's Motorsport News, actually, as the pantomime villain of the British Touring Car Championship. Recently wrote a book entitled "How Not to Be a Professional Racing Driver Yet," is the guy with the most race wins in the BTCC to his name in his career. Work that out and read the book if you want to get your head around why that is. Welcome to Spinning Wheels, Jason Plato.
He's good, isn't he? Hey, you're so good. You should be on some sort of sports hosting show.
Well, if
like
you if you need like a stunt double.
Skills. I'm being serious.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it is, mate. Nice to see you, guy. I've not seen you in ages. In fact, last time I think we bumped into each other was in Oxford, and you were sporting like a Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen cuff arrangement, I feel.
Really?
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
And I think you were kind of some sort of pantomime. You were sort of playing some character. God knows what was going on there, but we'd often bump into each other in Oxford and have a few beers, which is always good. But I'm just thinking more, Jason, about the first time that we met, or not the first time that we met, but obviously
rally drive.
We drove together, 1995, Man of Motorsport.
Yeah.
I think you joined us for the last couple of races. Was it last couple of races in the European Championship you did?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We did Monza, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, and so did you do Silverstone as well? I can't remember now. A long time ago.
Do you know what? I think I did actually. I think I did do Silverstone. Yeah.
All I remember was I was winning the championship, and then you pitch up, and I was like, got a bit of competition here. This is going to be
over. Like, it was just a means to an end for me. I'd snared a new sponsor in Swan National Leasing, and snared it and broken all the rules. And you guys have done this. You've worked at racing schools. The golden rule is you're not allowed to speak to corporate clients.
Yeah.
Which of course we all break. I managed to snare Swan National Leasing, and do you know what? Had I not done those few races with Boothie in the Formula Renault, I wouldn't have been able to land them. And actually, landing them in '95 then gave me the Renault Spider thing in '96, which then got me into Williams. So actually, that '95 season, even though it was only a part season, was pretty key actually to all.
Yeah, because I mean, because obviously you went from the Formula Renault to the Renault Spider, wasn't it? Which was actually a great championship, because I think Andy Prio, did he follow you? He was about a year, maybe the following year, or
he was the following year. Yeah.
That really kind of launched a lot of people's careers, didn't it? I mean, it did wonders for him as well, didn't it? It really kind of.
Well, I can remember, my single-seater career had gone tits up because A, I didn't have the money, and B, I probably wasn't serious enough.
Well, I remember you doing F3 in the Van Diemen F3 car with the Duckham's car. I remember seeing that.
The Cadwell Park Mountain, actually. I think we tweeted it a while ago. All 4 wheels up on the mountain in that Duckham's car. I'll tweet that after the podcast.
Yeah, that was in the works Van Diemen. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously, so because you obviously with Man originally, weren't you? So you did. I mean, obviously you had a great career in karting. Then you went straight into Formula Renault. Do you not consider doing Formula Ford or anything, or just went straight?
Do you know what? I didn't actually, and I was advised not to. I was advised to go a slightly different route because money was tight. We just thought, well, look, that's another 80 grand in the bin.
Yeah,
we won't get that back. And actually, Formula Renault was starting to get a bit of traction. And I remember going to, when would it be? End of '89. I went to the series launch at Williams at Grove, and was introduced to all the main players at Renault, Tim Jackson, all those guys, by Mike Knight from Winfield, which I'd just done. And the relationship that was the very early days of my great relationship with Renault, and obviously then went on to do Formula 1. Renault did pretty well, and then went to F3, and then it all, wheels came off. But I mean, I can remember getting a call from Tim, and also Tim Jackson of Renault, and John Millett saying, "Why don't you ever go at this Renault Spider thing?" And I can remember going,
"What?
I don't think so, mate. It's one make. It'll be the death of me. I can't do that." And then they said, "Oh, but the winner gets to test a drive with Williams in the Laguna, and Will Hoy is out contract." Ah, okay. And then it became important, and then I started to look at it and took the gamble, because you know what it's like. Going to a one-make series from where I was, and okay, I wasn't at the very, very top, but it would have been difficult to not go in and win. And had I not won, that would have been the end. So it was a calculated risk, and it paid off, as it did for me. Likewise with Andy Priya.
Yeah.
Did that year feel like the start of a career then, Jason, or did you just take it one race at a time and just see how it went?
No, I really set the stall out, actually. I got really busy in the paddock, and I made sure that our kit was always outside the Williams garage. I was then doing commentary on Clio's. I was up and down to the PR, to the commentary booth. I was working with Renault to try and get in to do. So it was an effort. It was a strategic thing. So much so that actually I ended up pissing off a few people at Williams because I just got in the way, because I was allowed in the garage because I was a Renault person. I kind of perhaps overworked that a bit, and a couple of times, I still speak to him now, a guy called Tim Newton, who was like the chief mechanic, came up to me and, "Mate, do you want to just..."
Oh, really?
You've been in here all day, just do one.
Yeah.
And that happened a couple of times, but yeah, it was strategic. It was really strategic.
But the thing is, it's like, we talked about it with some of the other guests and stuff. And I don't know if it's the same with the drivers now, but back in the day, you've got, you're sitting, you've got the most winning touring car champion, you have the most championship wins, but so you've got the talent, but you've got to have that work ethic. You've got to have that persistent kind of grafting, working with sponsors, figuring out how you can position yourself so you can get the drive. There's a lot more to it, isn't it, than just getting in the car and driving. That's not the easy bit, but it's only part of the puzzle, isn't it? And having that tenacity and that kind of like grit to do it, it makes you wonder whether the drivers of today have that, because it tends to be, you don't necessarily see it in the same way that, or maybe it is still there, but it's just, it comes across a different way. But I mean, you've hustled and worked your way all the way through your career, haven't you?
Yeah, and for me, that's probably the thing. I echo your comment that the driving bit's the easy bit, honestly.
Yeah.
That really is. The difficult thing is getting your ass in the car, and I'm sure you've come across, and I'm sure you've driven against one guy I'll mention. Well, I raced against this guy in Formula 3. Didn't race against him prior to that because he was doing Vauxhall Lotus, and honestly, he was the best driver I've ever seen. That I've raced with. I mean, he was just sublime, much better than me.
Who was
he
that?
was lazy.
Who was it?
He was brilliantly talented, would be asleep. Who's that? British Formula 3 champion.
Magnussen.
Kelvin Burt.
Oh, Kelvin. Oh, Kelvin, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing. Genuinely one of the best talents.
Kelvin taught me. He taught me how to heel and toe. Kelvin.
Did he, bless him?
Yeah.
What with them little feet of his?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even need that anymore. But yeah, he was. I remember. Yeah, Vortec, wasn't he, in F3?
I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
But lazy.
Yeah.
And had no, loved the bit in the car, but just didn't really do the bit outside. Although he got on, but when times got tough, and I still speak to Kelv now. He doesn't live far from me. But in terms of talent alone, he should have been and done it and been in F1. But
you went on to race obviously against him in touring cars as well, didn't you? So
yeah, I did actually. Yeah, and he was great. But I can remember. I think it was my first year.
He was in the Ford, wasn't he?
No, well, he was in when I first got in 1997. He was in the Volvo at 2.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it was my first race weekend at Donington. Kelvin missed free practice 1 because he was still in bed. Can you catch your breath? But that's Kelvin, you know.
And the problem is the manufacturers.
So I think the hustling bit is really important, and you know, I put together a bursary scheme with KX Academy for a lot of young drivers, not just to hand out considerable sums of money. I mean, every year that, you know, we handed out in excess of 400 grand to 6 drivers.
Wow.
But what was more important than that was there was monthly workshops where they came in and me and my business partner explained how sports marketing worked, and you know, how media works and how you play it and how you use it and all the whole thing, finance, legal stuff. We went through all of this, and do you know what? Most of them couldn't write a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
However, from that scheme, there has come a couple of darlings who have gone on and done really well and you could see it. Early days, you go, you'll do well. Tom Ingram works his arse off, brilliant at hustling, looking at sponsors, and he's out there and he's doing a mega job. And you know, his out of the car ability and his commitment will drag his talent through. But unless you've got that dragging you through, you ain't going to go nowhere, because unless you've got that or sponsors that will pay for that, because the days have changed from where they were,
and
they're
even
going to get you back in the car.
Do you not even think as well though, even the mindset, even if you've got the money to get to the top or to be successful, you've got to have a bit of grit and a bit of fight, haven't you? Because if you haven't got that, you're not gonna win, are you? You're not, you know, really. You need a bit of spirit, don't you?
Yeah. You know, I was speaking. Do you know Pinks, Natalie Pinkham?
Yep,
Do you know?
yep.
Yeah. I was just having a chat with her early on today, and what one thing cropped up is, you know, my eldest daughter. I say eldest, she's 12. You know, she's on the autistic spectrum, and she's quite complicated. And ever since we got a diagnosis, you then start trawling through it all, and literally there was this moment where I went, you know, that sounds a bit like me, that does. And then you start digging around in it, and actually, most definitely, I am on the spectrum. But interestingly enough, most of my mates, whether they be in motorsport, engineering, cooking, business, I guarantee all of them are on the spectrum. Yeah. And that is the difference, because you then have this almost insane drive and determination, which isn't normal. Yeah, just isn't normal. But you need that, otherwise you're not going to make it. Particularly in our game, because how many races have you done in your career?
Thousands. I mean.
So would it be fair to say 90% of them, even more, you've lost?
Oh yeah.
Well,
more than that.
Really? Do you know what I mean? And yet we still turn up day in day out. Come on, I mean, see, and that takes a different sort of mindset. I guarantee you're on the spectrum. Well, in fact, I know
I struggle. I reckon I haven't been diagnosed, but I think I'm dyslexic, because I've got a horrendous memory. Like, so for example, people start talking to me about races not that long ago, and I remember when this happened, and I can't remember. It jogs my memory. But I can't. I find it really difficult to hold information for long periods of time. So I'm okay for like a couple of weeks, then it goes. But because I'm aware of it, when I'm at the racetrack, I work extra hard, because I have to try and cram it all in and hold that information. And I can hold it for about 2 weeks, and then it kind of disappears, and I almost have to relearn it. So
It sounds like you're preparing yourself for those Monza stories, Guy. Oh, I don't remember those, Jason.
What Monza stories?
I've never been to one in my life.
Well, we might as well, as soon as you mentioned it, Paul, we might as well have a little chat with it. So, I mean...
Jog that memory then.
Well, I mean, Jason probably knows it better again, because my memory's not that great. But I mean, all I remember was, as I said, Jason joining us for the end of the season in '95, and we were with Manor, which sort of had a certain culture. They drink a lot of tea during the day, and a lot of beer at night time. And they do a lot of winning, incidentally, which is...
And a lot of working hard.
and they work really hard. I mean, first thing they do is they get you making the tea, and but they're a great bunch of guys, and John Booth and Tony Shaw, Pete, all those guys, fantastic. And we'd gone to Monza. I think maybe it was the final round of the championship, and we were staying in. Oh no, we stayed in Monza, weren't we? Did we go into Milan? I can't remember. Did we go into Milan?
Went into Milan for, I think, on the Sunday. I think it was the Sunday night for a bit of a. I remember I had a rod come out the side of the crankcase going into Parabolica. First time ever in a race car. Fucking, I'm going to die. And but I was all right. John was pissed off because obviously that was an engine dead. And I'm still to this day convinced it wasn't a down change, but you never know.
You never know.
So we'd gone into Milan for the night out, and I was a bit further up the road than Guy because I'd done 1991 with Manor, so I knew, I basically was the adopted son of Matt Manor. Lived at John's for a lot of the time, and so I know what they're like, and I love that. I love that bit, that devilment they've got. And do you remember we were trying to find some restaurant, and they're all a bit busy and all a bit where we were. What wasn't the right sort of place? And we came across this almost like a bit of a cafe style restaurant, wasn't it? And they could cater for the team, of which there was what, 15 of us, do you reckon?
About 15, yeah. We had I remember having a long table with all the team.
So we're all sat down having a great time, and but at the end of our table is some sort of like fruit machine, and it's just sat quietly flashing away, and then occasionally go, and but we ignored it, and then in comes this Italian dude with like raggy jeans and
the old frayed jeans, which are really kind of real trendy at the time, weren't they?
He just starts feeding money in this thing as we're trying to eat, and now it's jumped into life. It's making up. And literally, someone tried to have a chat with him, and he was not having any of it. So I don't know how it happened, but it was decided the best form of action would be to set fire to a napkin and put it underneath his frayed jeans. Well, he went up in a flash.
No, actually, I think you decided it was the best course of action.
Was that my idea?
Yeah, that was your idea, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, though, he stopped playing the fruity.
All I remember was looking up from the table and seeing a flick of flames up the back of his leg.
It was a scoop, ladies and gentlemen, but it is in the book.
Oh, my.
He stopped. And I think we didn't get told off much, did we?
No, I don't know. All I remember was we were drinking a lot of grappa. I remember drinking lots of grappa. I remember actually drinking grappa in one, and as I'm putting the glass down, I almost been sick back into the glass as I'm putting the glass down. It was so bad. I was absolutely. I mean, this was kind of my first introduction to kind of going out for a night out with Plato, which was first.
Hey, don't blame me. I was with the Manor lads. Huh? I was just a bit part.
Yeah, it's funny. I'd been out with the Man Lads before, and it was kind of like an 8 out of 10 night. It was kind of a bit wild. But, when you came, you just ratcheted up to a 10 and a half.
Hey, there was that bit where we're in this, I don't know which square it was in Milan, but we'd kind of gone off in a few sprinter groups, obviously looking for a bit of fun. And I remember Pete and John just literally, 1 minute I'm having a chat with them, and then they just shot across the road, and they saw a Fiat 500 at the traffic lights with a couple of girls in it. And they got behind it and they just lifted the back of it up ever so gently. So when she started to pull away, she obviously got a load of wheel spin, nothing happened. And then she was going up and down the gear, up the gears, and then they just dropped it. And off it went. And we're all giggling. Well, minutes later, the Italian, I don't know what you call them. It's not the gendarmes, that's the French, but the proper Italian police with machine guns had us up against the wall. And they said, look, best you lads go home. Well, that's how I translated it anyway.
It was a very, very good night. There's a few more bits on from.
Yeah, we won't talk about them. We won't talk about them.
We won't talk about them. But it was a great evening.
I'm going to bring you back to the racetrack, Jason, because you were lucky enough to start your touring car career in what a fan of my age would say is the best touring car era ever, the Super Tourers. That must have been epic, because those cars and the drivers, and it was the hotbed, wasn't it? You got people from all over the world came to the British Touring Car Championship to race those cars.
Oh, no, I mean, it was mega. It just was mega. You know, and you know, it dawned on me. It didn't take long to dawn on me because whilst I'd been in the paddock and stuff, you don't really know what goes on. And I remember the first, you know, obviously I've been down to Willys, met all the team, met my engineering team, and this guy. And I mean, there was just people everywhere. There was 50 people at Williams, and I'll never forget. They had a mock-up of a shell. And they said, right, okay, right, jump in, let's do an ergo fit. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm up for that. And basically, they said to me like, where do you want the gear lever? What angle do you want it on? Where do you want this? I said, I'll just have what Alan has. It'll be fine. They went, no, you don't understand. We're building 2 cars for you. You can have it wherever you want. Really? Everything was bespoke, and I can remember we had one test car, and we were doing. No, we didn't. It was the first time we had two. We had 2 test cars. One 1997, almost full spec, and one was a bit of a mule, which was I was in with 97 bits on, and we were at Harama, and we were there for a 5-day test, and I can remember. You know, I did the first day, which was a normal sort of test, get in, get comfy, get everything working. And then it literally, they just turned the engine on and there's people running around. I didn't do any more than 5 laps on a set of tyres. New set. And this went on all week. It was unbelievable.
Amazing.
And they helped me, they schooled me, they explained what everything did. You know, we changed everything on the car just so I could feel what it did. But not only could I feel what it did, but I'd feel what it did on brand new boots, so you could really work out. I mean, it was amazing. It's just amazing. £250,000 of the tyres we did in 1 week.
And big money then as well. I mean, you know, obviously big manufacturer budgets. So I mean, obviously you had what Renault. There's you guys. There was BMW.
Alfa Romeo were in there.
Yeah.
We're Alfa in there at that point.
Alfa just left actually.
Just left. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was big. You know, big money. You know, definitely golden age.
That was amazing.
So how did I mean, I know it's a bit of a story on this, but I mean, it'd be great to tell the guys. I mean, how did the drive come about with Williams? I mean, obviously you'd won the Renault Sparta Championship the year before. Was it a conscious decision to look at touring cars? Was that the sort of...
Absolutely. My single seater career had gone pear-shaped. I mean, I looked at it a couple of years before where, you know, my cousin, bless him, he's dead now, Keith O'Dore, my dad's sister's his mum.
Yeah.
And, you know, when my single seater career went tits up, in fact, it was just around about that Monza time, or prior to that. In '94, I did a bit of testing for them with the Nissan BTCC team.
Yeah.
And then for '95, it was looking like Eric van der Poel was out of a drive, and there was every chance I might. Anyway, Nissan pulled out, so that was that over. So yeah, it became very much on the radar. But you know, I won the Spider Series, did the test, did a good job. Actually saved the car. Was it Silverstone? You know, I felt a nasty vibration, which I was convinced was the drive shaft, and turned the thing off straight away. And then got on the radio, said, I think the drive shaft's on its way out. And I remember Tim Newton went, no, it won't be that. I said, no, I think it is. And do you know what it was? And had I not turned it off, that would have been the end of the test, because it would have screwed it.
Right.
That went down well. Anyway, cut long story short, I went and had a meeting with Frank, had the full interview. That went well. Was feeling pretty good about it because I knew Will.
What was he like, Jason? What was he like in those days? What was he like sitting in front of Frank doing deals? Was that good?
Amazing, yeah. I mean, you're always on the losing side, but it was sport. And I'll tell you a story in a minute about what Frank's like, trying to negotiate with him. He's hilarious. But yeah, did the meeting and generally thought, you know, I've got half a chance. And then literally a week later, I get a letter from Frank, which I've still got. And it says, look, Jason, you did a great job at the test. Can't fault it. You're fast. Da da da. We know you've got a great relationship with Renner. We'd love to have you in the team, but actually, in all honesty, you couldn't have done anything to get into the team because we want someone with profile and you don't have it. So we're looking either at an ex-Formula One driver or our test driver in Formula One, which is Jean-Christophe Bouillon.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a kick in the balls, that, because, for me, I just thought, well, Morbidelli, he's a failed F1 driver. He's doing that. Yeah. He doesn't give a shit. And this just festered and festered and festered for 2 weeks until I got up one morning and thought, I'm not having this. So I drove over to Williams, marched in there. And because I've been there a couple of weeks before, obviously knew the security guards, I'd sweet talked the receptionist, and was in. And the receptionist said, I said, look, I've just come to see Frank for 5 minutes. Can I have a word? Have a seat. And I'm thinking, rock on. 20 minutes later, Nicola, his scary PA, comes down and basically just tears strips off me. And but then I'm arguing, I'm fighting. I'm like, no, I want to see him. Unfortunately, she did this on purpose, which I think she did actually, or it was a mistake, but I think on purpose. She said, look, you're wasting your time. Frank's not in till lunchtime. And Frank was either living there because he's got an apartment upstairs or he's away. And I went, And with that, I could then stop fighting, apologise, give him my message, and then go and wait in the car park for 2 hours, which is what I did. And I waited for him, and then I saw him come in. I ran after his car, arrived at the passenger door, and now I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to get out of the car. This is awful. Anyway, I begged and begged as Hamish's nurse was trying to wheel him past me, and I kept on getting in the way. He said, look, please, just give me 5 minutes. And he did. He kept me outside his office for 45 minutes, nearly an hour. And then, Nicola came out, scowled at me because I'd gone round the back door and got in. And then I had about, not quite 10 minutes, but about that. And in all honesty, I can't remember what I said, but it would have been at a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
But I just said to him, please, just give me a chance. Just put me in the mix. Give me a chance. And he went, look, thanks for coming. And do you know what? I left that day totally content that if nothing ever came of it, I can sleep easy.
Yeah.
Because I've done it. There's nothing more I can do. It's either going to work or not. Anyway, I get a phone call from Frank's office saying, be at Snetterton next week. There's a test between you, Morbidelli and Bouillon. You get the same amount of tyres, same time in the car, same engineer. Fastest man gets the job.
Brilliant.
That's how it works.
Fantastic. And so on to the deal making then, because Frank Williams is one of those characters, like Enzo Ferrari guy. We heard stories of him, and Frank's one of those people that you can't ever hear enough stories about. And they're always different.
Well, so now I've been in to see him twice now. One for the interview, two when I doorstepped him, and now about a week after the test, I get a phone call from Frank saying, Jason, we'd like you to come in tomorrow. We'd like to speak to you. This is exciting. Off I shoot down there. And I'm outside his office waiting for my little slot to go in. And then next thing, Nicholas is like, you're coming in. And I kid you not, I walked to the door and the fucker stood up. And I've only ever seen him sat down. I'm literally like, what's happened there? And every now and then, his chair, kind of sit, and it's just to get everything working. Well, I'd never seen that, and it just totally knocked me off kilter. And I'm like trying to think what's going on. And then this is honest to gospel truth. Hamish then put him back down in a seating position. Frank started to say, look, you've done a great job. Nicola came in and said, oh, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a drink? I said, oh, you can have a cup of tea. And Frank said, oh, yeah, okay, I'll just have my orange, please. And then we're chatting away, at which point, and I'm sure he's done this on purpose. He's waiting until the right moment to produce this pile of papers like that, which are bound up, a contract. Anyway, in walks Nicola, and he says, "Right, Jason, we'd like you to offer, we'd like to offer you the drive for next year." And I'm fucking, here we go. And then next thing, over the table comes this like a book. At which point, Nicola then puts a massive, great big reading book, say this thick, in front of Frank, and Frank's at the table, at the chair like this, puts an orange juice down, and it's got a kid's curly straw in. And Frank sits there and goes,
You got to watch this on YouTube, guys. If you're listening on iTunes, you need to see that.
What do you do with that? What do you do with that? Anyway, I said, he said, so have we got a deal then? I said, well, I need to let, you know, I can't, I need to take this away to people. He said, no, if you want to drive, just sign it. That's how it is. I can't do that. He said, well, that's the deal. Take it, leave it.
Did you even have time to look through any of it?
And then went silent and closed me, and I'm like, you know what do I do? And then I thought, right, okay, well, let's get to the nitty gritty. So I went to the back and started the other way to have a look at the, you know, the important stuff. And he said, right, have we got a deal? And I said, year 1, definitely. Year 2, okay, but year 3, if you want to retain me in year 3, because it was a year plus year options in their favour, then clearly there's desire. I want more than that. And he just looked at me like I was mental. And he went, no, that's what we're offering, Jason. I said, I know that, Frank, but come on, let's, you know.
Let's negotiate.
Yeah, come on, and I could see he had this look in his eye. You know, and I'll be honest with you, my third year was meant to be 180 grand, which is fucking massive money. And he went, so what would you want? And I just didn't know what to say, because I went, all right, 250, and he went, okay. What the fuck? What? But how did I let him beat me up?
That's brilliant.
And the best bit was at the end of that year, obviously I'd done pretty well. Alan won the championship. We heard rumours on the grapevine that there was a super touring car 1,000k race at Bathurst, because there was a TV rights issue with the big V8s.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd heard that Alan had been called in to see Frank. Did he want to do it? Obviously, it's a 2-driver event. I'm going to be his teammate, but I'd not had the nod yet, and it wasn't in either of our contracts. So anyway, I pulled up Alan and said, look, what sort of deal have you done? He went, well, I've divided my retainer by 10 to give me an event cost. I've doubled it because it's a big event, and because I'm the champion, I've doubled it again. And I'm thinking, that's quite a lot of money. Quite chunky. So let's think what that would have been for many. That would have been 120 grand that he's asking for that race.
Wow, for the one race?
For one race, yeah. Which I thought was a bit punchy.
Yeah, very punchy, yeah.
But Alan, being Alan, told me nothing, how it went. I have no idea. And that might have been bullshit, what he told me.
Yeah.
That's the sort of bloke you're dealing with. And I love him to bits, actually. So anyway, I've gone in there and I thought, well, I'm not doing, you know, I'm not going to go anywhere near that. I'm not going to double, but I'm going to throw a bit on. And I remember Frank said to me, he said, oh, Jason, would you love you to do this race? We haven't got our budget sorted. Would you be interested? I said, I'd love to do it. He said, well, look, you've done a really good job for us and the team this year, and I think you're only fair. We'll obviously pay your expenses. You'll fly business class. Try and get you first class, but can't guarantee it. But only fair, we give £1,500. And I kid you not, I went, how do I shite, Frank? What do you mean 1,500 quid? He went, oh, okay, 50 grand. I didn't even question it. I went, yeah, that'd be fucking great.
But I tell you what, imagine if you'd taken 1,500, you'd have been.
I know, but I could have done. I wanted to do it that much.
I know. Oh my god.
I mean, mental.
He sounds fun.
I love him to bits, and I still go and see him. Not so much now because he's not so well, but
yeah.
I always call him for a cup of tea, and yeah, you know, he changed my life. Did that man actually?
It's a real shame to see what's going on with the F1 team in the minute as well, isn't it? I mean, it's tough times. Well, for a lot of F1 teams, but it's a real shame to see Williams struggling like they are. But how did you?
I think we should touch on one of the questions there, because it leads us on nicely to Jonathan Tuckwell's question. You mentioned Alan Menu. He's one of my racing heroes, and to hear you talk highly of him is quite cool, and also that he was a cheeky bugger behind the scenes. But Jonathan Tuckwell wants to know, he says, you've had a lot of teammates during your career. Who would you consider your best teammate? And there's a second bit, which who would you consider to be up-and-coming talent in the future of the British Touring Car Championship? But the best teammate.
The best teammate would be Menu for sure.
Right.
You know, when I joined, God, he was mega at the top of his game. And even though, you know, first 3 races I qualified him and stuck it on pole. And actually I turned into a bit of a cock then, because I was actually walking a bit high.
Yeah.
You know, I got this sort, and he just literally worked about him. Ooh, just stuck it at me, and I just couldn't find those last couple of tenths. And he was better at tyre management. He could do 20 laps on the same tyres as me, and his race distance, his race run would be a couple of seconds faster.
Yeah.
Fucking. And he was just on the ball. But also behind the scenes, oh man, he's so political and so slippery, and which is what you need to be. Yeah. And you're always working. I mean, a true professional. Yeah. I learned a lot from Alan.
What was his kind of?
It wasn't always good times. There was a bit of action where it went on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I rate him probably as the best I've ever raced against. I would say it's the most complete. I mean, Muller was fiercely quick, but hasn't got a straight bone in his body.
And leading on from that, then Ben Lister wants to know the best car you've ever driven.
I didn't say who were the up and coming.
Oh, sorry, yeah, up and coming, yeah.
I mean, obviously Ash Sutton is supremely quick. I would say as a guy which has probably got longevity because he's a doer and goes and gets the deals where Ash doesn't do anything other than drive cars quickly. He's not very commercial. I'd say they're probably the one guy who could have a great career and a long career in lots of different disciplines will be Tom Ingram.
Right.
He's fast, he's cute, he works hard, he's a star.
He's almost built a bit of a brand as well, hasn't he, with the Tingram thing? There's a bit of a following there going on, and the Toyota was big news.
Well, he was our first darling of the KX Academy. I think we taught him all we know.
Yeah.
We did a right good job on him. And he was, out of everyone, he was the one who listened the most. He was there on time, put the hours in. I said to him at the very early days, I said, "Did you play golf?" He went, "Well, not really." I said, "Well, do you want to learn?" He went, "What for?" I said, "Well, just go and have a look in the car park of the golf club. Got a few big motors in there, potential sponsors there. Get yourself in there. Go and learn how to play golf. Become a member. Start doing a few things." And he did.
Yeah.
And he did, and he hooked up some money. He's a doer. He's a grafter.
Exactly. Well, where are they coming from? The sort of British touring car drivers now. What's the sort of? I mean, back in the day, there'd be like you said, the Spider, there'd be Clio Cup. I mean, what is the kind of route now for a British touring car driver? Where are they coming from?
That's a good question, that guy. I think there's obviously a few coming from Clio. That's where Ash came from.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys are not really heard of until they just sort of seem to appear in BTCC, and then you sort of think, well, I wonder where they've come from. But they're obviously all quick, and they're obviously, good racers and stuff.
It's very kind of you to say that. I wouldn't be so kind.
Well,
yeah, it's gone through. Touring cars have gone through lots of different phases, and it's better now. But a couple of years ago, there's too much fiddling going on. I can't remember. It was a couple of years ago. They had something like 14 different winners. Really?
Yeah.
Come on. Is that 14 race winners on the grid?
No. Is that because
it isn't?
Is that because of weight or?
Weight and turbo boost and fiddling, and also it's all. No one really knows what's going on. It's much better now, I must say.
Yeah.
But there's always this BOP type thing where your car's a bit better. So there's all this politics going on behind the scenes where everyone's trying to, I brought that Subaru thing, that whole deal. That was my deal. and me and my engineer Carlos put that whole thing together, and it was totally all the way through. It's homologation. Can we do that? Yeah, tick. 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 Can't believe they're letting us do this. Can we do that? Yeah, tick. Wheel it out. Whack. We'll turn your engine down. There's a load of weight.
Yeah.
You never said that.
Yeah.
And they try and do the best job they can. And to be honest, they needed to do it because actually what we had was light years ahead of everyone else. So it was necessary. But it just seems to happen too much, actually, and or not enough, as the case may be.
Yeah.
So there's all, touring cars is great, but everyone's always moaning for good reason, because some cars are inherently better than others at certain things.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's very difficult when you've got like a formula like that, where some guys have got better engines in the way that they're positioned, or the weight of them, or the CFG, or rear-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive. There's quite major differences, and it's very difficult for the organisers to equalise it out. So always, someone's going to be upset, and it's big money. There's lots of sponsorship resting on it, and lots of deals rest upon it. So it can get a bit spicy when we're like, well, no, that's not right. Because actually,
the Audis, isn't it? When the Audis came in that time in the 90s, that was a similar thing. As a kid, I remember being fascinated by the whole politics around. The first time I'd really known motorsport politics because it was such big news.
Yeah.
Similar sort of thing.
It's always been like it because they're all, it's a saloon car series, and some cars are more aerodynamic than the others. Yada yada yada. So it's a thankless task that Toka have got.
Yeah.
But but the nature of the beast, it does. I came under criticism in when was it? 2004, I think it was, something like that, when the reverse grid rules first came out, and it was top 6, and I worked it out at the first race, meet of the year. Well, do you know what? Because I'm on like a massive win bonus, I'm just going to come 6th in race 1. I'll be on pole for race 2. Win the race, which is great for everyone else. And guess what? Ka-chang! Load of money drops in my bank. So, of course, these deals are in play all the time. So you're always trying to maximise your performance, or if someone has got a slightly better engine package or whatever it may be, you're trying to have them over, because ultimately it hits the pocket if you've got a deal which you can, you know what I mean? And that's probably why I was a bit vociferous and moaning about rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, this, that, the other, because actually it makes a difference. Because if I use my teeth and get them pulled back a bit, I might win a few more races.
I've got a question. I've got a question actually from Phil Taylor.
Hold on, that's Austin Powers. Hi, babes. I'm still doing the pod. Yeah, I'll be over soon. Okay, bye.
Okay, I've got a question for you from a guy, Phil Taylor. He said, would you ever be teammates with Matt Neal?
Here's the pantomime villain bit.
This question the other day. Do you know what? The simple answer is yes, I would, but it would not be at Team Dynamics. That would be impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anywhere else, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
You guys have had this thing going on for a while now, and I've always been fascinated. Never got the chance to ask you this question, although I did ask Matt when I was from at Silverstone once. Is it real, or is there a real play element there? Is it the pantomime villain thing? Are you playing a part for the show?
No, I think a good proportion of it is genuine. We just don't like each other, and a lot of stuff's happened.
Yeah.
A lot of behind the scenes politics. I mean, a lot of stuff has gone on, which I'm not going to disclose here. With sponsors, and I mean, lots of stuff has gone on, and there's but we're civil. We speak. I mean, I spoke to him 2 days ago on the phone, talking about the state of the nation and all that sort of stuff. But we get on okay. But we generally, I don't like the way he drives. I think he's a bit clumsy.
It has been genuinely one of the most entertaining parts of British touring car racing in the last few years has been your relationship with Matt. It's just
Well, do you know what? I can remember us both getting called in the bus, and Alan Gowd tearing strips off us, and we both literally looked at each other and went, Alan, this is what you want, mate. And he said, yeah, can you just calm it down? We're like, no, this is putting bombers on seat. How dare you say, calm it down, lads?
Yeah.
Genuinely, honestly, I will rev it up a bit, but the fire's already there. It just needs a bit of fuel on, and off it goes.
Yeah.
And I'm always round the corner with a little squirty can of petrol.
Yeah, we've loved that. So Ben Lister's question then is, what's the best car that you've ever driven? He calls you a legend, by the way, so we should acknowledge that. And
it depends how you pronounced it. It could be legend.
It might be.
Yeah.
What's the best car then?
What race car?
Yeah, well, I guess so.
Probably the 97 Williams. I mean, that was a really special bit of kit. Everything worked really well. But, I never forget the first time I drove a V8 supercar. And it was at Phillip Island. Me and Ivan Muller went down there to drive the Works HRT car. And we did a test at Phillip Island first. And Mark Scaife went out and set the thing up. Then Lounsey jumped in it to check it was all right. He said, yeah, it's great. And then Ivan drove first, and I remember watching him from the pit lane. And he did, 15 laps, then came in and did his full booking. Watch my time. And they went, you've done you're 4 seconds off the pace. And I was quietly pissing myself watching him. He's going, it's not possible. 4 seconds, not possible. There's the lap time, mate. Fucking hell. And then I've got to now get in, and I'm thinking, fucking hell. And I remember my outlap thinking, fucking hell, I know why he's 4 off the pace. Same with me, came in. But at least I didn't get out and go, I just said, yeah, I've got a bit to learn. And I said, yeah, you've done the same time as Ivan, you're 4 seconds off the pace. And I can remember walking to the toilets on a deserted bit of Phillip Island, the toilet block, and going in there in the oversized HRT race suit, which I've still got downstairs, and look in the mirror going, come on, fucking JP, come on, sort yourself out. And it took all day to get on the pace because they were that fucking hard to drive.
Everybody says the same. They've got no brakes, they don't stop, they're under-tired. But they're fast as shit in a straight line.
I mean, mega things. I love driving them. They're a proper man's car.
Yeah.
You miss a gear on the old 6-speed Hollinger box.
Yeah.
Elbow flies off. Your arm just snaps off.
You like your V8s though, don't you? You did a good stint in the old ASCAR series, which sadly is no.
No, I'd rather eat wasps than drive them things again. I hate it.
Would you really? Because you didn't you try to go towards
NASCAR? Yeah, but in all honesty, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling of being in a car which wasn't working, and yet I'm doing 145 mile an hour average lap, and it feels ugly. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It's fucking not doing it. And you've got to drive through that, and all of a sudden, it then starts to get on its toes, and it does what you want. But there's this awful period where you just got to go, I'll trust it.
Did you ever try NASCAR? Did you ever get into?
No, that's what I wanted to do, primarily because I wanted to put 30 million US in my bank every year. I mean, that was the motivation. but I did go over there with.
You weren't going to do that at Rockingham, were you?
No. Well, the Rockingham thing was a means to an end.
Yeah.
And but I can remember going over to Charlotte, and it was a Coca-Cola 500, and I was being looked after by oh God, I can't remember his bloody name now. Julian Jacobi, who was Senna's manager.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Easy to forget.
Yeah, and I only employed them to look after me to try and get me into NASCAR. Anyway, they lined up this big meeting. I went over there with a guy, I forget his name now, who was like their account manager. Anyway, he was doing the meet and greet, introducing me around the place, and introduced me a guy called Fred Wagonals, who was the CEO of a company called Action Performance. And they make all the models, all the merchandise for all the big drivers. And basically, Fred's everyone's mate because he writes them a check out for many multiples of millions every single year. Anyway, we're walking across the paddock, and then Big Dale, in his black Goodwrench with his shades and his tash, comes walking towards us. He's like, "Hey, Fred, how you doing?" And I'm like, they're having a little chat, and I'm stood there. And then Fred very kindly introduced me and said, "Oh, this is Jason Plato from England. He's coming." He goes, "Oh yeah, you drive them little diddy cars." And I'm like, "Yeah, Tim, yeah." And he said it was all like ace. He said, "So you can't go over here on vacation, taking some NASCAR?" And I said, "Well, yeah, a bit, but I want to come and do this." And I kid you not, that the atmosphere changed. He leant forward, he pulled down his shades, he went, "Boy, this ain't no place for puppies. It's where big dogs piss." And I thought, I just fell about laughing. I'm literally, that's mega. And he was deadly serious. And he literally just looked at me, shook his head and went, "Sheesh," and walked off.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. I can't imagine Denny Hamlin saying that these days. They're a bit more clean cut, aren't they? As long as they're not on iRacing, of course.
They're all a bit wild, aren't they? You must have seen some NASCAR in the flesh.
I haven't.
Have you seen it?
I've seen the race. Yeah, it's major, isn't it? It's awesome. I mean,
really,
those guys. I mean, people think that sort of NASCAR guys are kind of like just big fat guys getting up on the wheel and stuff. But I mean, they are seriously talented. I mean, it is some serious, because a lot of
hard as nails.
A lot of them come from sprint cars, don't they? And that stuff's like hard, hard racing. But it's a lot of fun. But it's not something I'd ever really fancy doing, I don't think, apart from the money. But
yeah, well, do you know what? Genuinely, it scared me a bit. I didn't like the feeling, and I hit the wall at Rockingham hard.
Yeah.
And I thought a bomb had gone off in the car.
No, really.
I've been in plenty of walls before, but not like that.
Yeah.
And they're doing another 50 mile an hour on top.
Yeah.
And I just thought, Jesus God, I'm sure that maybe 10 years, 10 years younger, maybe. But I just thought, no, this is not for me. I mean, you're mental. You're all mental. You're insane.
Yeah. So Jason, obviously we're in this pandemic. So when the season resumes in beginning of August, doesn't it, in Donington Park for you guys? So,
apparently so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the plan.
Fingers crossed. So how are you feeling about getting back racing again and getting on with it? I mean, obviously you had a good 2019. So obviously want to build upon that. You definitely got.
Yeah, do you know what? I was really hyped up and looking forward to it. And then this is obviously this weird world we're in at the moment. And
you've been doing a bit of gaming, haven't you? You got on the old esports thing a little bit, right?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Pornhub. Been doing a bit of Pornhub. Nearly done a lot. I'm about 90% through it.
Do you go premium?
Last 10%,
Do you go premium?
Do you know what? Doing Pornhub's a damn sight easier than racing them bloody SIM cards.
Is it hard work? Is it?
So tricky. You're miles off the pace.
Well, the problem is it's even like a proper race sim. You go on a race sim, and it's great for learning circuits and stuff. But like to get really, really quick on it, I mean, these kids come on and they're just like half a second quicker, and it's like,
oh, how much? Mate, I'll be happy with half a second. The young kids at the BRDC members like Johnny Hogsworth, mate, at Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, 3 seconds, I'm off.
Really?
And there's no fucking way I can drive it faster.
Are you enjoying it though?
No, I'm hating it. Well, I say that. I'm enjoying the legend stuff. I'm really lucky to be invited into that because I'm just a bloke that does touring cars.
Yeah.
And I'm racing against
Alonso, against
Alonso, racing against Vettel, racing against Tony Kanaan, Franchitti, Catch Your Breath, Emerson Fittipaldi, Mario Andretti. I'm loving that because we're all, not all of us are like Alonso. I mean, Alonso's off the scale, as is Jensen, as is Montoya. Yeah. Off the scale quick. They know what to do.
Yeah.
The rest of us are kind of thereabouts. But we did a race at Indy 3 weeks ago. I kid you not, it was the best thing one of the best races I've ever done in my life. I mean, literally amazing. And I'm racing and dicing with Mario Andretti. And I'm in that room there with a G&T on my table, right? And he's in Miami. So do you think if I touch him, he feels I've touched him in the moment.
Do you actually feel it then? Do you actually feel contact? I mean, is
it... Yeah. I mean, we were bump drafting. I mean, the first time I think it was either Adrian Fernandez or Montoya bump drafted me in one of the practices. I thought I'd been assaulted. And like we get on, I said, what am I wrong on this Discord thing where we can speak to each other? What the fuck are you doing? He said, hey man, we're bump drafting. All right, yeah, of course, yeah. Silly me.
Oh, brilliant.
You've done that plenty of times in touring cars, Jason. Come on now.
Oh, yeah, but not 250 fucking miles an hour. Well, stationary. But honestly, it's insanely good, the oval stuff. Because the racecraft is second, you really got to think and plan and strategy. And, you can change the car a bit when you're on the move and you've got to change your line depending on what the tyre temps are doing. It's really great. I loved it. In fact, we've got, not this weekend, next, we're at Indy again.
Brilliant. Well, we'll definitely be watching that. So tell us, just as we get to the close, but just tell us a bit about your book. Because obviously you got a book out, How Not to Become a Racing Driver.
A professional.
I haven't got the fucking title right.
Well, I don't know.
Have you ever read a book?
Well, no, that's why I said I'm going to listen to the audio. I've got a stack of books. I just haven't read them.
Razzle and that sort of stuff. High gloss fronts.
Didn't he get shortlisted for an award or something? It must be.
Yeah, there's 6 books have been shortlisted for Sports Autobiography of the Year, which we'll find out in September.
Who are you up against?
I'm up against Ben Stokes. I'm up against what's his name? That boxer, Tyson Fury. I'm up against.
A good company then.
Oh yeah, I'm up against the footballer from Liverpool. Doesn't play anymore.
Gerard, no.
Michael Owen.
Oh yeah.
Him. So yeah, I mean, like, wow, amazing to be in with those bunch.
So do you get that email and then go and buy all their books for a quick gen through, see what you're up against?
No, we've all been sent their books.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, there's a little gift all signed up and everything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I drew out the 6 books I sent out, 5 books I sent out. We just send them out. I went inside randomly and drew a great big cock and balls on one of the pages. I don't know who's going to get that. But someone's going to be, oh, hello.
Brilliant.
But it's great. I love doing it. It's gone down really well. It's sold brilliantly well.
How long did it take to write that then? Did you? 9
months.
Yeah.
A year, say 9 months a year.
Was it therapeutic?
Do you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to read it.
Went through quite stressful when deadlines come in. You got to get stuff at them. I mean, I didn't do it all myself. I got a brilliant kind of ghostwriter, co-writer, editor called James Hogg, and we'd spend a lot of time together. I'd dump stuff at him, and he'd kind of stitch it together so it read properly.
Yeah.
And there was a flow, and he'd go, do you know what, that story's good, but actually, let's bin that one, and we'll use that one. Oh, no, I want it. He said, no, it'll flow better. So he kind of assembled it.
Stitches it all together.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, it was a really good, I really enjoyed the process. Really enjoyed it. It was good fun.
And we do have to touch on Fifth Gear because it had a bit of a hiatus, and you guys are back. And actually, you've taken advantage of the lockdown thing, and you've been on social media doing the podcasting and stuff. And the Fifth Gear name, at least, during lockdown, is back, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a good little show. We've got a good little team there. We all get on extremely well. We know what we're doing. We're all very authentic about our knowledge of cars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a straight show. If you like cars, the way we like to think about it is, we want our show to produce smiles, but we want it to produce slightly more information than there are smiles. Whereas all the other shows, one just produces belly laughing, but you learn nothing because it's all make-believe and nonsense. And I'm not knocking it; it's great, but we want to be a factual entertainment show where it's for people that like cars,
which is what Top Gear was. Probably, back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're not going to start William Woolarding, are you, Guy?
Mate, we do as an homage to the Woolard. We do foot up on the front tire, stretch your inside leg out.
My favourite feature that you guys did, and I'm a Fifth Gear fan, was you and Tiff in. I think he had the Evo 10, and you had the new S13, the hatchback shaped Subaru, and you got within. Was it that close?
Castle Coombe.
I love. We'll share that on Twitter because it is. And you guys look. You mentioned that you love it, you enjoy it, and have some fun. But you look like you were having so much fun in that shoot. And then you're looking at it and going, "What the fuck?"
Oh mate, that's the closest I've been to a really big shunt because we would have both gone in at 80 mile an hour. No,
Yeah.
We would have hurt ourselves, and it was pitchy like that.
And you see that as well. The camera angle on it is brilliant for that, isn't it? And I think he got the flappy pedals wrong, didn't he? Because it was on the Evo bogged down, and he's getting all frustrated, and it's just a brilliant feature. We'll share that on the Twitter.
I mean, I jumped up the inside of him, didn't I? Going into
and then he struggled on it. He's got flappy pedal gearbox on the Evo, hasn't he?
He's going fucking hell, and we just missed him because had I caught him with my rear when he just turned me left in the wall. And I would have dragged him in with me. It would have been, wouldn't have been nice.
But it was good TV.
Oh, it was great. You know, I miss working with Tiff. He's the best TV driver there is in the business by a long shot.
You enjoy the TV stuff, Jason? I
do actually. Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't enjoy doing pieces to camera in the middle of a shopping centre when there's 100, 50, 100 people watching. I don't like that. Because I don't feel comfortable in that environment. You know, I'm not a trained presenter.
Yeah.
And it's all right if I'm doing a piece to camera on my own, but if it's a three-way piece to camera, where it's from Tiff to VBH to me, I mean, it's got to flow. Oh man, and the pressure builds, and then I might only have like 2 sentences, and I'm like. And the problem is, once you start, that's it. You could be there for 3 hours doing one piece, and of course, then the crowd like, so the pressure to get it right in that sort of environment is very tricky. But
I think I would be tongue-tied in the presence of Vicky Butler-Henderson. Big fan.
She's aces, VBA. She's lush.
Paul, should we go on for some quick fire questions?
Yeah, I've got a feeling the answers will be good actually.
Yeah. Okay, so just some quick ones. First things that come into your mind. They're all clean. They're all racing. So, right. Okay, top gear or fifth gear? Stupid question.
Fifth gear, obviously.
Touring cars or Aussie V8s?
I think Aussie V8s, if I'm honest.
Really interesting. Okay. Beach holiday or venture holiday?
Beach.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Hate cats.
That's another dogs one, Paul.
That is 100% hit rate on the dogs.
Hate cats. Horrible things.
Yeah, me too. I don't like the cats either. Prost or Senna?
Do you know what? I love them both actually for different reasons.
You can't say that though. You've got to choose one. You've got to choose one.
I'm going to go Prost actually.
That was genuine intention there.
Because I think he was a bit more in control of himself and a bit just a bit clever. He wasn't as charismatic, and he wasn't, but fucking hell, he was good, that boy.
Jason, we had Stefan Johansson on, and he was saying that he had Prost, obviously his teammate at McLaren, and the way he described him, he said, obviously he was quick. He said he's like a CEO of a company. He runs his car like a company. He's a CEO, and everybody on the car, whether it be engineers, mechanics, all work for him. He said he even got like Ron Dennis, like kind of Ron Dennis dancing around.
Eating out his hands, didn't he?
Ran it like his business. And he said the way that he did it was just, he said it was just like, politically, they were like puppets. He said it was amazing.
Well, do you know what? we go off piste a bit. We did one of the Race of Champions things in Dusseldorf a few years ago. And, during like the 3 days you're there's quite a lot of lunches to do and all this. Anyway, one of the first lunches, I'm sat next to Prost, and he was just lush. He knew. I didn't expect to know anything about me, but he knew about me. He'd seen me race and blah blah blah. But then I said to him, I said, "Well, I'll let you into a little secret. Your original helmet design inspired me when I was a kid, and I've taken elements of your design and incorporated them in mine." He went, "Go and get your helmet. Let me have a look." So I had to go upstairs in the hotel, bring it back down. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can see what you've done there." And then we did a helmet swap at the end of the
That's really cool.
How lush is that?
Nice, wicked. Nice.
Yeah, brilliant.
That's awesome.
And he was just lovely.
Yeah. I met because I drove when I was at Rebellion. I drove with Nico Prost, was obviously his son, was in the other car, so obviously he spent quite a bit of time. It was interesting because we had Nico Prost in one car and his teammate was Marco Andretti. So we had Mario was there and then Prost was there, all in the same garage.
Yeah.
Right.
You're trying to concentrate and you can't just keep looking at the garage at these like sort of legends, thinking.
See, you're probably like me. When I'm in company like that, I'm generally like I'm a bit of a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
You've got to remain a fanboy, haven't you?
It's
You've got to remain.
I don't see myself as one of them guys. You know, I'm not. I'm just a bloke that drives touring cars.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Formula One megastar.
Yeah.
And you know, I watch them guys with short trousers with me first ever hard on.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So we've got a passed on question. So Chris Dyson was the last guest, and he said his question to you was
Who? Chris Isaacs? What, the pop star?
no, Chris Dyson.
Sorry, I thought you said Isaacs.
Also a pop star.
It was he said, who was your most important mentor when you were coming? I guess when you coming through your career.
That's a good question. Well, believe it or not, Boothie taught me quite a few things.
I'm talking about racing.
Yeah, well, both actually. I would say probably before all that would be karting with my old man.
Yeah.
I'd say my dad actually, because I mean we had some brilliant times.
I read
but fuck, we had some hard times as well. You know,
I read about when you started karting. I was reading about you in a VW van, white van with a bed in it and stuff.
Yeah,
I did the same thing. We had a VW like high top van. We go to and it had these like fold up beds. So you had like a heater. You'd have like one of those portable stoves. My dad could do beans on toast, and that was pretty much all he could cook. Yeah. And you speak to like Mike Simpson, a lot of the other drivers, they all have the same experience. And actually, that whole bonding, like with your old man, you open the carts, clean them, all that kind of stuff. It was such a special time. And again, in some respects, that's kind of lost now, isn't it? Because the kids turn up, big transporter.
Ride and drive, isn't it?
They don't have that kind of the sort of basic.
I mean, I can remember being at Rye House at a test in the depth of winter. And you know what it's like. Like, it's not nice, is it? Fucking hand, your fucking hands are freezing. Anyway, we're doing this test. And we'd just not long got this caravan. So we'd gone upmarket, got a caravan, had twin axles. Fucking yes. We've arrived.
Luxury.
Yeah. It was a Bessica I think it was a Bessica.
We own Bessica.
Yeah, I think it was a Bessica. Anyway, I'll never forget. We're there in the caravan. It's fucking minus whatever at night time. Next thing, the gas is packed up. My mum's kicking off. My mum's kicking off. I thought you'd bought the gas. I bought the gas. Well, he bought the wrong gas. He should have bought red gas, but he bought blue gas. Apparently, blue gas freezes up. So he'd somehow he'd walked around the paddock and someone said, we got the wrong gas. Oh, the pipes are frozen. So the next thing, he's underneath the caravan with a Bunsen torch, right? Trying to thaw the pipes off. What's that about? But he got it going. But just funny things you remember.
It's funny.
I was like 12, 13.
We were speaking to Mike Simpson, and he was saying that when he used to go karting, they had a caravan which was then they bought from the neighbour. The neighbour used it as a wood store, and he bought it from the neighbour for 50 quid. And then had this Ford Transit. And there'd be his mum, his dad, his sister, and Mike. Well, of course, you're going to get three of them in the front. So Mike would have to sit in his go-kart in the back of the Transit.
What, on the way down there?
So he'd go to Clay Pigeon. He'd be sat in his go-kart for like 3 hours. Pitch black.
Mega. See, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what it's all about. It's just those, stopping at a little chef.
We had a dog. We used to take our dog. It was me and my mum, my dad, and our dog called Castrol, which was a Doberman. And he was lush, lovely dog. And he was really well known around the paddock. And on like a Saturday night, once practice had ended, he'd just be off. I'll never forget at Rowra, where Caravan was up the top of the hill. And he'd be off, wandering around, people being there on his working, he'd go in, oh, Cash, how you doing? He got into the habit of coming back with new rubber. He'd pick up someone's brand new tire, well, he'd be off.
Brilliant.
Things you forget.
So
Racing drivers do like dogs. It's a real theme of our Spinning Wheels podcast, isn't it?
It's Paul.
I mean, anyone likes a cat's not right.
Paul, sorry, Jason, have you a question for our next guest? We're not quite sure who it's going to be yet, but
That makes it more fun, though.
it can be anything.
It's a bit like drawing a cock in your page of your autobiography on a random page.
Right. My question for your next guest is they have to reveal the location, the car, the age of both parties when they first had some action in a car.
Great question.
Talking about
Where was
qualifying
it?
action, are we?
How old were you? What sort of car was it? Tell us the story.
Rate yourself out of 10.
Yeah, it's going to be 11, isn't it? Or no, 1.1, I think.
Dear Ivan Muller.
Great. Is that good, Paul?
Yeah, fantastic. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, do me a favour, go and watch it on YouTube as well, if only for Jason's facial expression, because he still acts and hams it up just like he does on the grid when he's fisticuffs and pantomime villain with Matt Neal.
We got
Thanks for that.
£5,000 each for that, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Alan Gow probably stood a lot more out of that as well, with all the excitement.
£5,000 we got nailed each for that.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Jason. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. And it's always great to catch up with you and have a chat, and definitely hopefully get together for a beer soon, or several beers.
Well, do you know what? We'll have to hurry up because this house, I don't know what's happened to it. I just put the bins out literally 2 hours ago. It's embarrassing wheeling it down there.
It's a walk of shame, isn't it?
Literally, it's all bottles of wine and stuff. And
In part 2 of the Jason Plato Spinning Wheel special, we will do the manor
what's in your
on the
bin?
tour.
What's in your bin?
We'll get Boothie on, and we'll do a manor reunion. That definitely.
You know, I'd love that actually.
That would be good.
I'd
We'll
love
get
that.
Pete on. We'll do a reunion. So
We'll go around the Falcon at Dinnington.
yeah, definitely. That sounds good.
Or what was it? What was it? Was the King's Arms down at the traffic lights?
Yeah, at
The Red Lion.
Red Lion. That's
Red Lion. We'll get on the Red Lion.
Do the Red Lion next time, definitely.
I'll never
This is
forget.
not one of them where you can tick the box that it's okay for kids, is it?
No.
I'll never forget this story. Me, Boothie and Pete had gone to the Red Lion. I don't know, it's like midweek. I was up there. I was only a young lad. And we got ourselves really quite terribly drunk. And Boothie had forgotten that he was meant to be back home because he'd agreed to do something with Mary, whether it be cook a meal or whatnot. But Pete had remembered, and Pete said to me on the blind side, he's in a lot of trouble. Mary will be down any minute. Don't tell John, but he's forgotten. He should be down any minute. So me and Pete are watching the door, and the next, oh, Jesus, there's Mary. And she walked in, and John's like, hi, Mary, you come and have a drink with us. I'd forgotten all about it. Anyway, John was in a lot of trouble. And we were basically turfed out of there by our ears. We went back to Boothie's place. And I thought I'd make light of the situation to try and diffuse it. And Mary whacked me with an iron. He picked up an iron and went, you can shut up. Right, I'm off to bed.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Right, anyway, look, I'm going to bed.
Thanks, Jason, and we'll catch up soon.
Done.
Cheers.